Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube. I hope everyone is well. It is Tuesday, the 27th of January. This is your daily market outlook for today. A little bit of a later upload, so I do apologize, but busy morning, and I've just run back from the gym to basically record this. So yeah, obviously your notice times may fluctuate from mornings to lunchtime, so just be aware of that. But going into the charts, in fact, before we do. Disclaimer, the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor and nothing shared here should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Always do your own research before making any financial decisions. Trading and investing involves risk and you should never risk more than you can afford to lose. So going into the charts, obviously not much has happened since yesterday. Tuesday 27th, we've obviously got some orange folder news, but nothing major, which, can probably explain why Monday and Tuesday so far has been pretty much, sideways. Um, Obviously it's nothing, nothing really major where, there's been a massive opportunity for us to, potentially look at. But I think it's just mainly because obviously we have, obviously the Fed fund rates tomorrow, FOMC, obviously the statement and press conference at 8:30 as well. So there's going to be heavy news going into Wednesday, Thursday, unemployment claims. And then Friday, we obviously have core PPI, PPI. So, the rest of the week, we can expect some volume inside of the markets. Going into today, let's have a look at what's going on. Dailies, nothing's changed, as you guys can probably tell. Yesterday, we just consolidated inside this daily demand candle, and at this moment in time, we're breaking lower, but still inside this daily demand candle. If you look at the four, yeah, I wait to see, this area or these two areas up here, Met filling this imbalance. We have a small gap in the market here as well. So naturally, I thought the market was going to, retrace, even if it's just slowly, like slowly, retrace to at least the minimum fill in this gap and, you know, until FOMC, until the rest of the news events are happening. But at this moment in time, we didn't quite have that. If you look at the 1 hour, the simple opportunity today, which is obviously aggressive trading and very risky because we are in this demand, was we had this 1 hour lower high, this 1 hour lower low. And all we, did is we created during Asian, we created these, liquidity highs. And then as you can see, market just, dipped into the deeper part of um, this supply, the premium area. And then we've had this movement away so far, which allowed opportunities on EU and GU because EU and GU lined up pretty much perfectly. So as you guys can see, same scenario. We have this 1 hour higher low, 1 hour higher high. All the market has done is, dip into this 1 hour demand area, filled in that imbalance, and then slowly starting to move away from there. So that was one opportunity, and then GU was pretty much the exact same, um, just about to hit take profit. Let's have a look. Not quite. Hopefully, by the time I look at this, it would have been take profit. But yeah, as you guys can see, same scenario, higher low here, higher high, 1 hour range, 1 hour demand area, imbalance, took out the Asian low, and then obviously now just pumping up. So yeah, pretty easy to understand. Going into the higher time frames on EU. Nothing's changed from yesterday. We've just still been extremely bullish. You can see that we have this demand area. We have obviously had this daily candle fill in some of this imbalance, but not enough. So yeah, all I'm pretty much waiting for is, a dip, into a valid zone from the daily or the 4 hour. If you look at the four, you can see that of course we talked predominantly about this 4 hour demand area because this is our 4 hour higher low and our 4 hour higher high. So, obviously what we can wait for is if we, for instance, break this 1 hour range, then of course you could potentially look for, shorting opportunities into this 4 hour demand area to then potentially go long. That could be one opportunity that, we can keep an eye on. But as of right now, we just focus on what's going on in the 1 hour structure, which I've just explained, is, you can see we're in this range. We're in this range, and yeah, that's what is currently happening in regards to the EU situation. So yeah, same with GU. Pretty much the same scenario. I'm not going to go into the daily. You can see that we're still in this daily supply area with nothing's happened yet to give us any scenarios that the market's, obviously going to come and fill in these imbalances. But yeah, we have a few forward demand areas. One here, there's one here, and there's one at the extreme level of this whole daily leg. So waiting to see what can happen. Same scenario if the market, let's say, broke out of this area, and then we could potentially look to short to fill in these imbalances and then see how we react from this 4 hour demand or this 4 hour demand or this 4 hour demand to then potentially, go and create that new daily higher high. So that's what I've got for EU and GU. Pretty much this is going to be the same scenario with the major pairs as you guys, probably guessing from the movement inside of the markets. Let me just quickly take profits on this because I don't like the way it's looking. 1 second, guys, 1 second. Okay, perfect. Uh, so yeah, obviously GU, yeah, I just want to see what's going to happen. Let's say we get a significant break above, we can obviously look for longs. But yeah, I'm just going to chill, obviously personally with the trade ideas that I've already taken today. So let's see what happens. It is the same scenario as I just mentioned, trying to get into these lower parts on the 4 hour. NZUSD a little bit different. It's not been as clear on the 1 hour to take any potential longs for me personally. We're inside of this 4 hour supply area still, which if you guys look, it's this area here. And we're just obviously chilling at this moment in time. The moment in time we're just consolidating. My 4 hour demand area is down here. Simply because you can see that higher high, higher low, higher high. So that's the only reason why I'm looking at that from a 4, and we've got imbalances to fill as well. Obviously understanding that, I would probably look at the 2. You can see that there's pullbacks on the 2, which are like valid little mini pullbacks, in which people can obviously look to long from. There's a demand area from here. But yeah, I haven't took NZUSD personally, but yeah, that is a 1 hour demand area, which obviously is now working out. And then the same scenario, you can see you've got Asian lows below here. New York open, obviously we come in around London open, we open up and obviously come in to take these lows, and then we get that movement away from there. So, looking at this scenario, can we potentially break this low to then look for shorts into at least this forward demand area, and then potentially look to see if we can long this upwards. If not, and we're going to break above this, then of course what we can look for is if we get a nice break, pull back to then participate in potentially looking for longs on NZUSD. AUD USD, that was the one. NZ's a little bit cleaner, sorry. I know I said it wasn't. I meant AU is the one that's been uglier for me, just because of this imbalance below. And we didn't obviously mitigate this demand, which is not clear enough for me anyway. But let's have a look at the 4. The daily and the 4 were in this, daily supply. Drop down to the 4. There is a 4 hour supply in there. I just haven't mapped it out. So we are in that daily supply area at this moment in time. We're extremely bullish though, and that's exactly what we've got to focus on because, for me, I think I said this yesterday, like this sort of trend. What I like to see on the 4 is nice, clean, structural, you know, um, institutional candles with nice imbalances, nice daily demand areas, so on and so on. This is looking more like, if you guys can see, more 1 hour trends where it's a lot smaller. You might get a big one and then something like this where it's a lot more structural from the 1 hour rather than the 4. If you can see the differences between this trend and what we like to trade or what I like to trade, we just haven't really had the pullbacks. It's been more internal 1 hour structures that have been going on. So yeah, if you look at this scenario, this is where I was looking, should I say, for any sort of retracement into this forward demand because that's my 4 hour higher low. 4 hour higher high. Just haven't had that at this moment in time. We've dropped down to the 2 or the 1. Yeah, it's currently reacting from, as you guys can see, this imbalance at this moment in time. We created this imbalance here, which you can see the market is obviously retraced to. We've had Asian lows, all these liquidity lows here. Again, if you guys are, if you guys trade just imbalances, then this is the perfect setup, I guess, because if you look at the scenario, you have all these lows. So that is yesterday's Asian low, Monday's Asian low, and then we obviously come into Tuesday's Asian low. We've created so many liquidity points, so we have imbalance below, and then obviously dip as we come into London, and then obviously get that movement away. So, that is a clean setup for Asian session, but not enough for me. Not enough for me, but not enough for me, obviously, as you guys will know. So that's AUD USD. Waiting, sitting on my hands with that. Going into USD CAD. As you guys know, I want you to see if we can get up into this daily supply area first. We're looking at this scenario. We are reacting out of this daily demand area here. And then obviously we broke above that structural point. So, if you look at probably, let me just have a look at the weekly. Again. You can see that obviously we've retraced into the extreme level, the discounted level of, the 886 or the 786, which are good Fibonacci points. So, I wouldn't be surprised if long term, just saying if long term we did get, very bullish on here, but it all depends on what's going on with obviously the economy of the US and the Canadian dollar, and obviously seeing how we react, for instance, from this daily demand. Do we go long term on this daily demand, or are we just going to get a pullback into one of these, supply areas to then go and look to go short? So yeah, it's going to be interesting, seeing what happens. Pardon me. So yeah, look at this scenario. Um, I'm going to obviously set my hands and just see how we react from this daily supply first to see if we can go short or to see if we get a reaction to go long. So I'm going to be waiting for that. If I look at the four, if I look at the four, it's the same scenario. Like I'm pretty much just waiting for where the daily is, the 4 hour is as well, which is here. So yeah, I'm just waiting to see what happens with USD CAD. Of course, if you look at the 1 hour, some of you guys can look for longs or shorts, but not for me personally. Going into USD CHF, obviously we've had a huge dump off, absolutely just melted off from the zone that we talked about here, which was this supply area. Again, we've not had any pullback as of right now to look for any shorting opportunities. The only thing I can think of is if the market right now is, remember, you guys have to remember, in order to create supply and demand zones, we have to have some sort of consolidation. If you look at the scenarios, consolidation, we break out. What's happening right now? We're consolidating. So can we see, consolidating, breakout? If we get that breakout, then we can obviously look to see a new supply. So if we break this low, let's say that we get, a nice break of this low and we continue to, short, then obviously what we can look out for is, let's say, for instance, a new supply area. And we don't have to come and look at this right now. So yeah, it's going to be something that is interesting if we can get that break below. And then obviously we can make a decision from there. If we look at the one, there's probably a bit more opportunities on the two and the one. You can see that it's the same scenario as the US dollar. That's our 1 hour supply because this is our range from this high to this low. Lower high, lower low on the 1 hour. And obviously right now we're moving away from that 1 hour supply. So yeah, man, obviously nice moves from a lower time frame on a few of these pairs. USD CHF again, I've just explained. I'm waiting to see if we can break this low and then make a decision from there. USD Japanese yen. Of course, we talked about this daily demand area yesterday. We're still consolidating inside this area, but look at the Japanese yen basket. We're still consolidating inside of this daily supply area, daily supply candle here. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get, for one, bearishness away from here. That's one scenario. And then obviously, if that's the case, we'll get some bullishness away from here as well. Looking at the four, what can we see? Nothing obviously for us to look for anything predominant. Obviously, what I'll be waiting for right now is just still, can we see either of these lows or highs broke to potentially look for, longing or shorting opportunities. And yeah, you guys from a 4 hour, you probably know if we can get a dip, we're probably just going to continue downwards. And then vice versa is, of course, if we, get a break above this, then we can obviously look for longing opportunities from here. So yeah, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday are going to be interesting. Obviously, you guys are probably thinking, oh, boring Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, it is what it is. When we've got a heavy news week, patience pays, and that's something that you have to understand. If I look at the 1 hour just quickly, can I see anything at all? Yeah, all you can see is the fact that we've reacted from this 1 hour supply area here, and that's why the market has dumped away. Because look, you guys can see, hopefully, dump, pull back, dump. What's left here? Unmitigated 1 hour supply, imbalances. This all this area here, this is not corrective at all. Sorry, this is not clean at all for us to look for, something to short from or to long from. So that's the clearest 1 hour supply area that we have at this moment in time, and it already has done from the top of this to the bottom around 170 pips from this area. So yeah, that is pretty much it for today, guys. Should be interesting, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, and that's something that we can obviously keep our eyes on. But as always, I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your Tuesday, and we will catch up in the mornings. Take care. God bless.